I think it's safe to say you know this scale. And you definitely know this scale. Now after this lesson, you will be able to transform any pentatonic, major scale, or mode into something like this. Utilizing arpeggios and being able to play different forms of them with any mode or scale is something all professional guitar players take advantage of when they are soloing and improvising. It's a great way to take your playing to the next level, especially when you use that hybrid picking technique that you just heard me play. So in this video lesson, I'm going to be going over 3 steps that will completely transform your playing and give you a much more solid foundation and structure to be able to do this with any mode or scale. And of course, I'll also be showing you that very unique and fun hybrid picking technique that you can use with all of these arpeggios. My name is Matt Kelly. If you find this video helpful in any way, please consider subscribing to support so I can make more videos just like this. Let's now get into the video. So step 1 is all about these 3 arpeggio shapes that we will then apply to our scales. Now there really are a lot of different ways to arpeggiate a scale, and in this video lesson, I'm sort of going to take the approach of teach a man to fish and you feed him for life kind of lesson. That way you can apply these 3 arpeggio shapes with any scale or mode. Now these 3 are just the shapes, they're not the actual arpeggio for any scale. So we're gonna have to tweak each of these for whatever corresponding scale that we want to play in, whether that be major, minor, if we want to play in Dorian mode, Lydian mode, but we'll get into that. Definitely still practice these as they are just to sort of get used to that shape, especially with the hybrid picking technique that I will go over in step 2. So let's now go over these shapes and how to apply them to actual modes and scales. Now something that I should mention about these shapes is that each can be more tailored to specific scales and modes. And I'll of course show you an example of this. So let's just first go over that first shape. Now the best way to really look at this is that we're gonna be playing 2 notes on the E, D, and B strings. And then on the A, G, and high E strings, we're only gonna be playing 1 note. Now for this first shape, we'll start on the A note on the E string. And when you play this, I only want you to pick each string once. And then the strings that have 2 notes, I want you to hammer on. So like this. Now just remember, this is more so an arpeggio form that we then sort of have to makeshift for whatever corresponding mode or scale we're playing in. For example, this specific shape is very, very close to the Lydian scale. So when we tailor this first position to this mode, it's more closely related. So for example, we have 5, 7, yes. We have that 6 included again, yes. Now, it was 5/7 on the D for this form, but what we have to do is to make sure that we're playing in the Lydian mode is that we're going to just play the 4th fret instead. 6th fret again on the G. Now, same thing on the B string, we're going to be playing 4/7 instead of 5/7. And then end on the 4th fret. Now moving on to that second shape and its closer scale counterpart. Now the scale that closely resembles that specific shape would be one of the major pentatonic scales. And in this case, it would be the A major pentatonic. Now, just because I'm saying that that scale is closely related to that second position does not mean you cannot use that form for any other scale or mode. You can, you sort of have to work your guitar brain a little bit and figure out where those notes are closely related to that shape. So that first shape sort of closely resembled the Lydian mode. It can also closely resemble the Phrygian mode. This second shape we just went over closely resembles the Dorian mode, the natural minor scale, pentatonic obviously. So let's now go over the third and final arpeggio shape, and then we can get into that really cool hybrid picking technique. Now this one has a much wider spread of our fingers. Now we're really getting into that 3-note per string scale, which is most people's favorite way to play arpeggios. You can get a really, really great sound and you can really be more fluid all across the fretboard. Now this shape in particular will most likely be the one you use most often. It's the one I do because those 3-note per string modes and scales, which is pretty much all of them, it's easier to find where to play for each of those scales. So now I'm gonna get into the really good stuff and show you how to use that hybrid picking technique to sound much more fluid with these arpeggio shapes. All right, so this is by far one of my favorite techniques I've ever learned on guitar. It has significantly improved my chops in all areas and aspects of my playing. It's helped me with my fluidity, it's helped me with my consistency, it's helped me with my speed, and a lot more. So let's go over it, and you can do this in any scale you really want because it'll all be the same. I'm gonna quickly play the scale and slow it down. I want you to watch what my right hand is doing. So hybrid picking is utilizing both your pick and your finger. Now I'm going to use that first arpeggio form that we went over, this one, for this hybrid picking lesson. Now, like I brought up earlier, I only wanted you to pluck each string once and then hammer on to the next note of that arpeggio. And that's still exactly what we're gonna be doing. So we're starting on the 5th fret of the E string, hammering on to the 7th fret, plucking the 6th fret on the A string with our pick, and then on the 5th fret of the D string, we're plucking with our middle finger and hammering on onto the 7th fret. Now our middle finger is only going to be plucking the D and B string. All the other strings is going to be taken care of by our pick. So we have pick, hammer on the E string, pick on the 6th fret of the A string, pluck with our finger, hammer on to the 7th fret, pick on the 6th fret of the G string, 5 to 7 on the B string with our middle finger, hammering on, and then ending with the pick on the 5th fret of the high E string. So we have pick, pick, middle finger, pick, middle finger, pick. Now it's definitely gonna feel really weird and uncomfortable at first if you have never done this before. So how I would break this down and sort of practice it is just do the first 3 strings, get used to using both the pick and the finger. So hammer on, pluck, finger, hammer on, pluck, finger, hammer on. Now the other part that sort of makes this a little bit challenging is going back up. So when we go up, we're not actually using our finger at all. It's just the pick, and we're gonna sort of glide it so we can go as fast as we possibly can. Now take it really slow at first. Take a closer look at what my right hand is doing again. Now here's what it looks like when I'm playing an actual arpeggio from the major scale. So when we're going back up, we're actually pulling off to the next string. So for example, we have pluck, pull off, pluck, pull off, pluck, pull off to finish it. This exercise will also strengthen up your fingers for those wide hammer-ons and pull-offs as well. Let's now end this lesson with a much easier and much more fun way to utilize these arpeggios with everyone's favorite scale, the pentatonic. So if we take that first pentatonic shape, this is how we can do that. We can also do the same thing with any of the other 4 pentatonic shapes as well. Now there really was a lot to learn in this lesson, so please make sure to go back, learn each step really carefully, take your time, really memorize those shapes, really get comfortable with those other mode and scales that you may not be super familiar with. That way these approaches will actually stick to your guitar brain and you're not gonna just forget about them. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you in the next video.